What's going on, Internet? IG back again today, and today's video, it's probably going to be a bit cringy, but you know what? We're gonna enjoy it. We're gonna have a look back at some of the oldest stuff on this channel, and have a look at some of the milestones, I guess. Some of the more popular videos. I'll give my reactions or thoughts, or maybe even a little bit more context around what was happening at the time. And you're just going to have to excuse everything that's going on in the lighting situation here, and you know, even golly gosh, the theme that I've got going on at the moment. I don't know why I'm in a Mac sort of mood at the moment, but I just am. So yeah, you're just going to have to deal with that. But let's check it out. What did IG, the Infinitely Galactic project, look like back in 2010? Okay, so first of all, again, another disclaimer. If you can hear some conversations going on in the background, there's not a whole lot I can do about it. There's a webinar situation going on out there. Anyway, so the Infinitely Galactic channel, here it is. This has got pretty much everything. I've pretty much kept every single video that I've uploaded public. And so you can see here from my channel page, here are the videos that I have so far. You know, there's a couple of other bits and pieces here with TubeBuddy and the rest of it. But what I will say is that if you go sort by oldest date, and you'll see my channel rearrange into the oldest videos, oldest of which are around 8 to 9 years old, which is, I don't know, it blows my mind to think about that. The fact that we were dealing with OpenSUSE 11.3, KDE 4.5, this is still relatively early days for KDE 4, and Ubuntu 10.10, I believe, was what I was dealing with. So yeah, we can take a bit of a trip down memory lane, and we're going to jump into this OpenSUSE 11.3 video in just a moment. But before we do, one of the biggest videos that blew up for me, that was kind of the start of me taking it a bit more seriously, was first of all Moon OS 4. I don't know why, I don't know how, but somehow I managed to get that video out at just the right time, and from what was previously, you know, tens of views and maybe 100 plus if I was lucky, all of a sudden turned into a couple of thousand. And then the next video that I uploaded on that, Pardus 2011, blew up even more. And then the one after that, my fake Ubuntu commercial, which we're also going to look at later on, is also went relatively well as well. And that was kind of the springboard for a lot of my channel's success since then. I know you're just waiting to get to the reactions, so we're going to do that. But what I will say is that I believe I became a YouTube partner, which was a lot more difficult to do back in the day, and got all of the videos on my channel monetized in mid-2011. And I believe it would have been around, probably around here, 7 years ago. As you can see, there's not very many views on that. Anyway, let's jump into the first video of OpenSUSE 11.3. Right off the rip, boy howdy, the cringy music, I managed to pull a bunch of music from what was the iLife suite on OS 10. The iLife suite had a bunch of background backing tracks to it, and in my early video days, it's all I had access to in terms of music and background noises and stuff, so that's what I used. You probably heard it a billion other places, but yeah. And that whole little intro was just a bunch of Linux wallpapers stitched together in Kdenlive. Very exciting, I know, but yeah, I was just starting out.
Okay, so today we're looking at a very polished and professional OpenSUSE 11.3. Now, I realize this came out quite a while back. I think it came out in July.
Okay. The audio quality here was terrible. I knew it was terrible. I just didn't have anything better to go from at that point in time. I believe it was either the built-in mic on a laptop that was pretty old, or it was like a plugged-in USB mic situation, but it was still terrible quality. I had no idea why the audio popped the way that it did. I didn't know how to fix it. I was just rolling with it, and just getting the screen to record itself seemed to be a challenge back then. But I still remember being so very self-conscious of the sound of my voice that I would listen to it over and over again just to make sure that I didn't sound like a complete idiot. And what I absolutely love now is looking back at this. There's a comment that's left here 4 years ago saying, "I'm watching this because of your recent Q&A video, why I switched to OpenSUSE." And I have to say, even on this, your very first video, you sound very confident and professional. Well, great, because I was faking it big time. I had no business showing up and doing a Linux video on the internet. I was barely starting out myself, but I was learning a lot, and so I was keen to share it with everyone else. Let's continue.
But I feel that when it came out, there was a few bugs, and for me it wasn't very usable on a day-to-day basis, and I switched back to a Debian-based system. Having said that though, now here we are in December, and I really feel like this distribution has come a long way in that time. After a fresh install, I had 96 security as the
we're going to skip forward a little bit.
You can see here. The fonts.
Oh my gosh, the Compiz Zoom, where you could actually zoom in the whole desktop environment, that was so doggone useful back in the day. You used to be able to zoom right in on a detail, and it would eliminate so much headache in post-production because you could just zoom in live during the screen recording, and it would give you a live zoom up of everything that was happening.
Again,
rant over.
Aren't the best looking in the world. Yes, it could be improved, but
I was really a fan of the professionalism that OpenSUSE brought to the Linux world. It brought a certain maturity, and it still does. Every time I boot it up, I think, man, this distro is one of the most professional out there. And if you've ever seen a reoccurring theme on my channel, it's that I always try and figure out where different distributions are coming from, what kind of audience they're trying to pick, and my job, or at least I see my job, as trying to help you guys, or help others who are just discovering it for the first time, help them shuffle through most of the distributions out there, and help them figure out which one, I guess, they identify with the most, or appreciate the most. And yeah, for me, OpenSUSE was a bit of a revelation based on just the level of quality and polish that it had going for it. It was still a pain in the butt to get set up though, no doubt about it. So yeah, that's interesting. What I will also say is that I don't know what was wrong with my voice this particular day, but it does sound a little bit nasally.
Tools for virtualization. So we can go through all the different hardware here.
If I'm being honest, it still sounds nasally right here today, but that is what it is. But wow, what a trip GNOME 2.x series is, hey? We've got GNOME Do here, we've got Firefox 3.6. This is some nostalgic stuff right here. Let's see how I signed it off. I'm kind of curious.
SUSE is definitely geared towards those who need quality software. They need a large quantity of quality software that's ready to go, that's stable, it's tested, and it's not going to crash out on you. I believe it's geared towards those who like simplicity. They don't like a lot of eye candy. They need a machine to get work done. And this machine does not distract you with system errors. It does not distract you with extra fluff that it doesn't need. It's lean, it's mean, it gets the job done. And I think that's what sets OpenSUSE apart. It's a professional power user distro that is ready to get your work done.
And hence, and thus started my bit of a reputation as being a bit of an advertising platform for distributions, as opposed to actually honestly reviewing them and critiquing them. I always took a more positive aspect to most distributions. It's pretty rare that I really rag on a distribution. Yeah. So anyway, comments are interesting, and let us jump forward in time a little bit. So we'll quickly jump into this really cringy Discover Ubuntu commercial.
In today's world, we expect technology to make our lives easier, get things done quicker, and so we can enjoy the more important things of life. That's why we created an operating system that does exactly that.
Okay, so I just want to say, I was so deep at this point into the whole philosophy and ideology behind Linux that you can see I'm literally appropriating someone else's project as my own. I'm saying from the first person we created. I didn't create Jack. I mean, I'm just using this stuff. But I was really happy to find this kind of stuff and find the community behind it, and that's where this mock commercial came from. I ended up finding a guy's YouTube channel which had just some amazing footage of Toronto or Vancouver, somewhere in Canada. And so I went through the whole permissions process to use it, but Apart from the really dodgy audio quality, again, I didn't have a great mic back then. I'm proud of this in a cringy kind of way.
And we called it Ubuntu. We believe in fast, effective computing for everyone. Created by the open source community and Canonical, Ubuntu is free to use and share at home and in business. Ubuntu is easy to use, and it comes with thousands of free applications.
I was really proud of this reflection effect that I got going. It was just something that I, did up in GIMP, but I was kind of proud of the way that looked. It was very Apple-esque, I think.
And our community is constantly building and supporting Ubuntu, welcoming new users every day. Ubuntu is ready to help you connect with the people that matter most in your life, with the Me menu and Gwibber.
And there I go, start waxing lyrical about all the different features. Yeah, so honestly, I'm surprised it's got 73,000 views, because it definitely didn't have, that many views when I put it out, but it was a good time. Okay, so as you can see here, the years are carrying on. We're up to OpenSUSE 11.4 for reference point there, and I think the first really mega viral videos, if we're going to change the view here from oldest to most popular videos, honestly, the videos that always do well, and if you're a Linux YouTuber, take note, the ones that always do well are where you compare Linux to something else, whether it's Mac or Windows, preferably Windows, or if you talk about Elementary, or if you talk about Ubuntu. Somehow, they're the ones that get the views. So, as you can see, the most popular videos on my channel with almost 500,000 views is Windows 10 versus Linux, which was really just my impressions of Linux Mint, and stacking it up against what was the incoming Windows 10. And CentOS, which this is super awkward for me. We're going to watch this one together, because this one's bad. Okay, so first of all, this video was shortly after, well, probably about 2 years after I started filming like a talking head segment. It wasn't just screen recording. Everyone thought I was way older than I actually was. Yeah, so the first time I revealed my face, everyone was like, what? You sounded like you're 30-something. I wasn't. I was a young adult. Anyway, and here I am recording in my dorm room at college with CentOS. Yeah, this is pretty bad. Let's watch this.
What's going on, Internet? IG here again today with another Linux distro review. Today we're going to be checking out the enterprise version of Red Hat's distribution, also known as CentOS 7. So CentOS is essentially the enterprise offering for Red Hat's Linux distribution. However, it is not branded with Red Hat in any way, although it is provided by the Red Hat community. Essentially, it is a community-driven distribution that is based on the efforts of the Red Hat Enterprise Linux distribution.
Not entirely untrue, but as a quick trip through the comment section will point out, there was a lot of things about the governance and structure of this distribution that I had no idea about. And I was really just on the grind of doing Linux reviews. I saw that this one had come out, and so I jumped on the chance to be able to review it because there was just a lot of talk about it in general. Yeah, but I really had no idea what CentOS was offering or what its unique value proposition was.
So what are some key things to look for? Well, stability is going to be a big one. Also, how long is this distribution going to be maintained for? So how long will people be able to run it on their systems? And also, what kind of desktop environments do they have available? Well, to answer those questions really quickly, CentOS is very, very, very stable. That's really all that needs to be said. It's also going to be maintained for quite some time, but I'm going to talk about that in a bit. And also, it has pretty much every desktop environment out there supported in its DVD releases, and then it has a couple of live DVD releases as well in both the KDE and GNOME desktops, and a couple of others as well. But right now, let's dig into the GNOME desktop, or the GNOME desktop, because for me, I was very interested to see what vanilla GNOME looks like in a very, very, very stable environment. So let's check it out.
So this is CentOS 7, the GNOME edition, and I've logged in classic mode as this is the... Okay, and this is basically where, for the rest of the video, I end up talking about the GNOME desktop as it stands in a very stable distribution. Yeah, I don't know. I think I very much missed the point of what CentOS was about. It is what it is. The other, I think the first one that that really blew up for me was Windows 7 versus Linux, and I used Zorin OS as a desktop comparison between the two because that was the most easy to do, or easiest link to make, and that video did quite well. Probably the video on my channel, if somebody was to ask me the video that I'm most proud of on my channel, it's probably the Ubuntu 14.04 review. This is one that I really worked hard over, not only in scripting but in shooting, and to try and condense my usual rambling down to something that was very palatable and heavily inspired by websites like The Verge and emerging video producers, MKBHD, that kind of thing.
So another 6 months goes by, and the most popular distribution of Linux-based operating systems drops another release. This time, a long-term support release. Considering its release being in April 2014, Ubuntu 14.04, codenamed the Trusty Tar, represents the next major iteration of the Ubuntu release cycle, integrating all of the features, bug fixes and changes of not just the last 6 months.
I think what I liked most about this particular review is the fact that I spent so much time living in this particular distribution that that all of the operating system, every corner of the operating system was populated by what I did on my laptop, and then being able to do screen recordings of me actually working and then having those playing in the background while I did B-roll footage was something that I think I saw someone else do somewhere once, and I was like, that's a great idea. Screen record it, play it back full screen so it looks like someone's using the computer when they're not. Anyway, so I was quite proud of that video, and yeah, to this day it's probably the one that I spent the most time and effort on, between screen recording, scripting, B-roll, you know, editing, all of that kind of thing. Yeah. So Ubuntu 14.04 was the bomb.com as well, so that helped, and that was helping to build my enthusiasm for it. Well, there you have it. There's my oldest video, some of my most popular videos, and some of the videos that I just completely missed the point on. Look, I hope you enjoyed this kind of format. As time goes on this year, we might have to restructure a little bit in terms of my weekly, or what has been my weekly schedule. Just started a new job, and so we'll be working that out in terms of what my upload schedule looks like. But we're going to still endeavor to keep the channel fresh, keep it rolling, keep it moving. So thank you all for coming along on the journey, and I'm also really looking forward to getting in on some interviews with developers and the heads of different projects, to kind of shine some light on the good stuff that's happening around the place. Speaking of, okay, so before we get out of here, I really want to give a quick shout out to Akira, which is a Linux design tool that is on Kickstarter right now, and it is looking to get it's looking for funding to be able to really take it up to the next level in terms of what it's capable of. So go and check it out. I'll leave a link in the description. But Alessandro, if you're watching this, I would love to have you as a first guest in an interview type video to talk about this project and why it's important in the Linux world in 2019. So go and check it out. Throw some dollars at it if you can, and watch this space very closely. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you all in the very next video. Peace out, ladies and gentlemen.